Hello everyone. I welcome you to this class on Salesforce Admin and Developer Certification Program. We are all well aware about Salesforce, a much wanted technology at the forefront of the SMAC revolution, namely social, mobile, analytics, and cloud, with huge market potential which experts say would touch $20 billion by 2020. Amongst our participants today, that is you, we have a well-rounded representation across different geographies, including US, Europe, Middle East, Singapore, India, etc., with rich and diverse work experiences. Our instructor for the course is Mr. Devanand, who has more than 17 years of IT industry experience across various leadership and technology roles. He has more than 4 years of experience as practice head for SFDC practice in Infosys, handling all industry verticals. He built a team of over 500 SFDC professionals and designed a comprehensive training and competency building framework for different SFDC tracks. He also holds several SFDC certifications, including Dev 401 and ADM 201. I welcome you, sir, and thank you for taking this class. Before we go any further and I ask sir to take it forward, I would just go through a few simple ground rules and also tell you a little about the LMS, which is the Learning Management System. So the screen that you see right now is the LMS. You would actually be on this page once you log in. You can refer to the course tab here. Once you click on the same, you would see My Courses. Kindly go on My Courses. My Courses would enlist all the courses that you have enrolled for. For example, the course that we are about to begin, which is Salesforce Admin and Dev Foundation, can be found here. Please click on Salesforce Admin and Dev Foundation. Here, you would actually have the course content and also a few simple FAQs on how basically this whole course methodology would be conducted. As you can see, we have the different modules here, and once the class is done, the recordings would be made available for the same. On the right hand side, you can see the support tab. Should you have any questions or any difficulties, kindly raise a ticket. You can select the course here. You can mention the category right here, and you can type in what your question essentially is all about. It could be about instruction, it could be about technical help required, etc. A request, kindly attach a screenshot of the problem that you're facing and also add a relevant tag before you post your question. This will actually help our support team to swiftly solve whatever issues that you're facing. Also, very good news for all our learners. The Edureka app is now available for Android and iOS devices. You can download it from the tabs that are mentioned here. As you can see, this green highlight comes up. You can download it from here. Joining classes, you can join your classes either after logging into your home page and clicking on this button right here, or you can do it through the email which we promptly send before the beginning of the class. Thank you, and thank you, sir, again for taking this class, and I'm sure everyone would have an enriching experience. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Rakesh. So once again, a very warm welcome to all of you. Just wanted to ensure that I am audible before I proceed. If you can just type in on the question window that if you're able to hear me, oh great. I can see at least 3 or 4 responses. Brilliant. Okay, that's good to know. And I'm assuming you can also see my screen. In case you have a problem, please feel free to just ping me on the question window. I'll be ensuring that the screen is shared. I've just seen that my screen is there. Okay, great. Okay, so thanks for the generous introduction, Rakesh. And I would like to once again welcome all of you on behalf of Edureka for this power-packed course on Salesforce. Right. So, like Rakesh mentioned, I have around 17 plus years of experience in IT industry, and then I've been heading the Salesforce practice for almost like 4.5 years in Infosys. So we handle several marquee customers across different verticals, be it banking, insurance, telecom, manufacturing, and different kinds of manufacturing customers, be it high-tech manufacturing or earth moving equipment manufacturers like say Caterpillar, right, or Motorola for that example, right, or be it Nissan, right, automobile manufacturers. So, and also of course retail, big customers. So, and pharma as well, right. So handle different customers, different engagements on the Salesforce platform. And I'm very glad to be part of this session today, sharing my experience as well as helping you guys enable on Salesforce and help you folks in your career, right? You've taken the right decision in terms of joining this course, and there is huge demand in the market for Salesforce folks both in the US, in the UK, across the geography. So I'm sure all of you would have done the groundwork, did the analysis. So I'll not try to sell too much on that. So what I will do is I'll just show you before I get into the modules, right, what this course is about. I'll just show you a quick window, right? So I'm assuming you're able to see my the slide that I'm showing you, right? Two slides. Um, so this is typically the certification roadmap, right, for Salesforce. And what we have done is, right, I'm sure there'll be a diverse set of people who will take this course, right, at the beginning. And we would like to give them a flavor of the multiple tracks that are available in Salesforce. So we have designed this Power Packed course wherein we bring in a comprehensive view, right, across multiple tracks, right? You have the administrator track, you have the implementation expert track, you have developer track. What we have done is we have ensured there is a decent coverage across all these areas, and we come with this course, right, wherein you get a good view of different areas, both the foundation and advanced, and insights into the advanced, right? And then you take a first step uh, as a you know uh, administrator or as a certified developer. Till last month, it was called as a Salesforce Com developer, right? Dev 401 was the exam. Recently, they made us a few changes. They're calling it App Builder, but the content-wise, it's all 85% it is the same, not much of difference. So what we have done is, uh, just give me a minute. Sorry about that. Yeah. So how we have structured this course, right? Just to give you a view, right? The content-wise, right? So we picked up uh, different percentages from different areas, right? And the reason we are giving more weightage to the foundation level, the first two, is just to ensure that everyone has a strong foundation on the platform, and then you branch out into the advanced levels. You want to become an implementation expert, you do Sales Cloud, Service Cloud certifications, or you want to become a developer, you are a hardcore Java person, stuff like that. You branch out to a platform developer. So there is huge scope for multiple set of folks, right? Different tracks. So we have brought the best out of all these certifications into this particular course, right? And I would like to do one quick thing. Maybe I think it may be a bit difficult for us to go around the table and introduce each one of us. It could take a little bit of time. What I will do is I will request you to just type in some quick introduction about yourself, right? I can see your names, just your overall experience. If you're working on .NET, I think I just see that Mr. NVRK Prasad is working on .NET and C Sharp. That's great. So Salesforce also has an object-oriented programming language, pretty much similar to Java and the C Sharp, right? So it's a great space to move into, right? Salesforce, because you have an excellent experience on .NET and C#, right? So you can definitely leverage that here, and it's going to be a fantastic experience for you. And maybe I'll request all of you to just give me a quick introduction on the window. It will be useful for me to just understand your total experience, your IT experience. Say, let's say you've been in Java JT, like I think I see Satyanarayana saying that he's been in Java JT as a in core Java and JT, right? Around 10 years of experience. So that's great to know. And maybe your location and maybe a quick expectations from this course, right? I'll just take a look at them as I move along, right? And then uh, it'll be easy for me to you know understand, know more about you guys, your strengths and areas where probably you may need some support, and you know if I need to provide you some additional support, I'll be more than happy to do that. Not at all a problem. I think there is someone who says I've been on mainframe and I have no issues. Smita, very good evening to you. So definitely there are a good number of people who are moving in from legacy technologies. uh, you know they easily catch up Salesforce, and there is a very good demand for folks. As long as you are smart, you're ready, you have the right attitude, you have the energy to learn and demonstrate, uh, you know you're going to be successful, right? Just yesterday I was reading a blog on the Salesforce website. I'll share that report sometime. It's a IDC report. In the next 3 years, they just projected the number of jobs that cloud computing platforms would generate, and particularly Salesforce, right? It's a huge number, right? I'll just share that number sometime. I think I picked up an infographic from that blog, so I'll share that with you folks. So it just shows how much scope is there, right? So good to see. I think there are a good number of people from different areas. I think Manish, good to see that you know SAP CRM. You're in the US. Great. Deepesh, been in the telecom domain. C++ and Java. Excellent. And I think we have Balaji, who's an Oracle apps ERP developer. Or you've been on uh, order management and ER. That's really great. And I saw someone who's been in, yeah, you've been in telecom. I think that's Deepesh. And then, yeah, I think we have someone Aditya Narayan. Yeah. So you have been working as a regional sales manager, managing spec platform for India. So Salesforce does have a out of the box sales and marketing and service modules, right? It's typically started off as a CRM product. So when I talk about it, you will understand that. So definitely there is something for each and every uh, role that we typically play in the IT industry, right? So be it an administrator, a developer, designer, or if you want to become a functional consultant or an implementation expert, or you want to become an architect. So there is something for everyone, right? Uh, there is a lot of demand for all of these roles. So I think that was a nice introduction that I got from a good number of you. Thanks for that. In case you're not typed in, please feel free to type in, because it'll just help me, just understand you folks a little bit, and then more, and then uh, any support, additional support, guidance we want to take, I'll be more than happy to do that. Right? While we cover the core course content during these sessions, in case you want me to do something specific for some duration, part of this, the 42 hours you're going to spend, or uh, something little additional, I'll be more than happy to help you guys. We'll be sharing lots of information to make you, successful Salesforce professional. That's my whole intention, right? It's not just we're just helping you with the course and then we'll just leave you there, right? So we'll definitely help you succeed to the extent that's possible, right? Okay. So with this, I'll jump into the course, right? The course module. Uh, so you can access this module from the, once you log into Edureka website, you will see this in the My Courses window, and then you can take it up from there. And of course, I'm going to share my screen, so you can look at my screen for now, and then you can refer these slides later, right? So I think a good number of people have given their details. Great to know that. Really a very diverse set of folks, and great to see so many experienced people, right, looking to really make a change. That's really positive sign that I see, because I'm sure all of us would like to be staying relevant and competitive in this industry, right? So absolutely, this is a great place to be in terms of Salesforce, right? So let's move on. Uh, just give me a minute. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just show you a high level overview of these modules, right? So we will be covering around a total of 20 modules, right? And we'll be starting off with cloud computing and what Salesforce does in that space. Uh, then we'll start looking at the building blocks of the platform, and then we will also use a particular use case, simple use case. It's basically the a student master app, and it's basically we're assuming that for a university, right, a hypothetical university, cloud university, we're building a simple, very simple app. The reason is I kept it simple as we want to ensure we define different requirements and cover all the different features that we can explore in Salesforce, and at the same time, we don't want to keep the time frame in mind, right? We can't do it like a long project, but of course, if you're interested, you can pick few more use cases, and after the first student master app, there are other use cases that you can pick up, and I'll be more than happy to guide you on that. So what we do is we kind of take a approach where we not just show you modules and say, okay, this is a feature in Salesforce, this is a lab. In parallel, we will be uh, making you think like say a business user, right? You wear different hats. You think like a business user, you spell out requirements, right? Then you see how those requirements can be met using Salesforce. What are the limitations of the platform, right? What can be done, what cannot be done with declarative programming and other options, right? What are the various options available in Salesforce? And then slowly make you think like an administrator and a developer, because in Salesforce typically the administrator is not someone who simply does password resets or you know basic things, right? User ID creations. Unlike other platforms, here the Salesforce administrator is expected to uh, do a lot of stuff declaratively, right? So he is the first point of contact for the business folks, and he works very closely with the business, and he knows the limitations of the declarative options that are available, and space where he cannot meet the requirement, he will go to the IT team. When I say IT team, the developers, right? The developers and the technical guys who can write lots of heavyweight code. So having said that, it doesn't mean Salesforce is purely declarative. I'll give you certain examples. So I think there is a very strong developer community. Say, for example, they go as in-depth as talking about design patterns, just like you discuss in Java, right? A singleton pattern or any of the other design patterns, you know, all the stuff you do in Java, right? Advanced programming, asynchronous calls, web services, APIs, SOAP APIs, REST APIs, and how you publish a web service. And if you're a web developer, right, you are good in JavaScript or and HTML and CSS, right? There is so much for you to do in Salesforce, and Salesforce supports all the JavaScript libraries. So it's not that it's purely a non-developer kind of a package, right? It's got excellent business orientation. That's why they push a lot of things to the user, business user and the administrator. But they know that they cannot achieve everything with the non-developers, right? So a big number of requirements will be met only by a hardcore developer and a architect. So just to give you an idea, right, Salesforce has this architect course, certified technical architect. There are only around 100 or 150 certified tech archs in the whole ecosystem of Salesforce in the whole world, right? US and all regions put together. So you can imagine how difficult it is to become a tech arc, and it's got all the features that any state-of-the-art, uh, you know, platform will have. So that's the power of the platform. It has so much scope, right, for different people. So with that, I'll get into the slides. I'll talk a little bit about cloud computing, and then we will, keep moving. Any questions before I start? You can feel free to type in uh, anything you want to know or anything that you have in mind that you want to ask at this point of time. Okay, great. So just give me a minute. Sorry, I'm back. I just had a small disturbance. Okay, so this would be the list of objectives for this particular module, right? So we'll try to understand what is cloud computing, then what is SaaS, PAAS, IAAS. I'm sure some of you would have heard about it, and what is public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and all that. What is Salesforce, right? What is Salesforce doing in this market? And yeah, sure, yeah. Thanks, Aditya, for the feedback. I made it full screen. Hope it's convenient now. So we'll try to understand a bit about Salesforce, then what I can do with the platform, and then how do we develop apps, what is meant by multi-tenant architecture, metadata-driven architecture. These are all very basic, high-level stuff, and then we will get into the real one, right? We'll see this system. We'll create an environment for each one of you, and we will start doing uh, different stuff, right? So let me just move on. So I think we have a good number of people with lots of experience. So I'm sure all of you would appreciate the fact that uh, customers have to purchase hardware, software licenses, then they have to form a IT team which will do the design, development, architecture, testing, and all of that, right? And apart from that, the infrastructure itself has several layers, right? And you need to have your own data centers. You're going to have, uh, you know, lots of, uh, expenditure in maintaining the data center, right? And then also running all updates, all sorts of upgrades, all that stuff, right? So typical all IT infrastructure related challenges. And when Salesforce started, I think they started off in 98, 99. I mentioned as 98, but of course, uh, I think it was 98, 99 when they started off. So if you look at it, right, they started off way back in the Y2K era, and they have the vision of going completely on the cloud, right? So cloud is just a metaphor, right, for internet. And what they have done is they have deployed the complete infrastructure, right? Be it the servers, be it the database part, application servers, the business logic, the front end, everything, right? They just put it on the cloud. They had the vision in those days when I think it was probably the Y2K, peak of Y2K, and then you had the dot-com boom, then there was a dot-com bust, right? So they started off long time back, right? And they survived the 2007 and 8. In fact, I would not say they survived. They were the de facto choice after the 2008 meltdown, right? Wherein all customers started realizing, okay, let's think about cloud, right? We don't think we can afford to have our own data centers, have projects which run for 18 months, 20 months. We don't see anything for 18 months, right? After 18 months, I see some product that is coming from the IT team. So Salesforce broke all these myths. I won't say myths, right? These are all real problems. They broke all these problems one by one. And when the 2008 happened, right, they were the one who stood strong and they survived, right? Oracle was and SAP were always making fun of Salesforce, right? Microsoft, right? They never thought about cloud the way Salesforce thought, right? And today, if you see, Oracle is pushing cloud sales, SAP is pushing cloud sales, Microsoft is now talking to Salesforce, right? They in fact, the CEO attended the Salesforce conference very recently, right? Dreamforce. So clearly, Salesforce is the leader, right? And they started off with a CRM, right? Just as a CRM platform, right? Not as platform where you can do everything. So they started off as a CRM product, customer relationship management. Typically, you do sales, service, and marketing, right? To do campaigns, to keep track of your customers, you maintain the relationships, and get more business, right? You do cross selling, upselling, all that. And then they also have this platform, right? So where you can develop uh, custom maps. So just to give you an example, right? Uh, Facebook uses Salesforce for their HR process, right? Internal HR process, hire to retire. Groupon uses it for their internal purposes. So there are different organizations. Google uses Salesforce. So there are all top organizations. Like I gave some names in the earlier part of the session. Is my voice okay? Is everyone facing the problem? Like, is there a problem with my voice? I think I saw that Smita has highlighted that my voice is breaking. Uh, okay, I think Prasad, you are looking okay. So feel free. Okay, so because I am on a LAN cable, right? I just wanted to avoid being on a Wi-Fi, and just did a quick check of my speed as well. Right, I was quite good in terms of my speed. I don't know if there is any specific issue. Let me just do a quick check because I don't want these problems to trouble you guys, right? If there is a problem on my side, I'll ensure it's fixed. Looks good. I have a pretty fast connection right now. Let's wait for some time and then probably, I think Smita, you want to just check your connection as well. So coming back to the point, right, that we were talking. So different companies who are startups, right? Startups in India, they are using Salesforce. Like I cannot take names because of certain reasons, but trust me, some of the very hot startups, they are using uh, Salesforce. Okay, the online marketplaces of the world, right? They're using for different purposes, not for their e-commerce sites, right? They're using for different purposes, but they are big customers of Salesforce. Right? They're all implementing Salesforce. So there is a question from Aditya, right? So some customers prefer to keep data in their own uh, control. Example, ministries and government sector. Yeah, that's a very good question. So if you look at it, uh, so there are there is definitely a lot of apprehension about public cloud, right, in the last several years. But slowly that apprehensions are dying down. The reason I'm saying this is if you look at the customer count of Salesforce, right? it's just around 110K, 120K. In India, they have a huge customer base, and there are a good number of public sector companies which are implementing Salesforce. Okay. Having said that, uh, even today, I think 70% of the retailers are many big banks, right? So they still run on mainframes, right? The core banking, core retail operations, right? They are still on mainframes, right? But if you see the overall opportunities that is there for Salesforce, right? So typically all customer facing apps, right? B2B, B2C partners, suppliers, wherever you have a touch point where you want to easily talk to different people, right? You provide a community to the people. Salesforce is the choice, right? And there are different horizontal functions, HR functions, uh, internal professional services automation, and multiple things, right? So there is a huge scope for Salesforce, right? There are a lot of applications which are cloud ready, and Salesforce does meet all the uh, cloud or security standards, right? Laid out by different standards, right? I'll just show you a site where they display all those things, right? And they are moving their data centers throughout the world, right? So they are not leaving restricting it to only the US. 2 years back, most of the data centers were in US. Today they have opened up data center in the Europe. They have 3 data centers in Europe. They have one in Japan. They're expanding all regions so that the customers or people in that regions don't feel that data is completely outside the country. But of course, it's still in the public space, right? But Salesforce provides all the best-in-class security. And definitely not every business case will suit Salesforce. There may be some very, very confidential stuff that you don't want to put on the the cloud. But having said that, if you see what has happened last year, right? Target, they hacked into their data centers, right? Target completely was hacked, and the CEO lost his job. They were not on cloud; they were mostly on data centers, their own captive centers, and several other uh, data breaches have happened where everything is there on the uh, premise, right, within the data centers. So I think that's definitely a cause of concern. But yes, Salesforce is moving ahead. So we look at some statistics there, right? So these are typically the models, right? Uh, you have SaaS, which is software as a service. You have PaaS, platform as a service. You have infrastructure as a service, IAAS. So simple examples that we all use: Drain, Layout, Dropbox, Gmail, Facebook, all those stuff is basically software as a service, right? It's there on the cloud and you use it as an end user. Then platform as a service, right? You have force.com, which is again from Salesforce. So Salesforce has offerings on the platform layer as well as the SaaS layer. And then, of course, you have infrastructure as a service. Salesforce does not have anything on there, on that layer. But I'll give you an example. It will just give you a very good idea. This is just a simple analogy, right? So, this picked up from a blog which was written sometime recently, maybe less than a year ago. Like someone compared the software as a service or whatever as a service, right? Today you have everything as a service with we ordering some food, right? Pizza as a service. So if you look at the left hand side, right, you have the block which shows uh, everything is made at home, right? You just do everything at home, right? You have your own kitchen, you have your table, your soda, electric, gas, oven, fire, whatever you need is there at home. You don't go out. Of course, you buy the raw materials, the ingredients uh, from the nearby shop, but you do everything on your own. Then infrastructure as a service. So you can see the blue boxes and the green boxes, right, in the second tower. So it's like take and bake, right? So wherein you kind of get few things from outside and do some things yourself, right? Your infrastructure is there. So maybe you go to a service department, right, or some of these studio apartments in the US, right? So you have certain things readily available, but you just buy a few other things, right? But then you go for platform as a service, right? So here you get the pizza delivered, right? Everything is done outside, and then you just sit at home and eat. Or the last option, you eat out completely, right? So of course, this is just an analogy, but if you look at it, it's not like the way we have, the all the pros and cons with eating out, right? So of course, today there is so much talk about why you shouldn't eat out. You cook food at home, homemade food is better, blah blah blah. But in terms of IT infrastructure, let me tell you, the way forward is cloud, because it is not just cloud, right? It is mobility, it's analytics, it's social. All those things have come in place, right? I'll have some slides to talk about it, but it is just an analogy which will give you an idea to differentiate between on-premise infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service, right? So now let's get into the IT world again. So here, if you look at it, we have everything managed on-premise on the left extreme, right? And then you have the bottom layer, right, which is managed by someone. So here, when you say managed, right, it is not that it is outsourced. It is not that you have your data center and you just outsourced it. Here it means someone provides this networking, storage, services, servers and virtualization layer. You decide what is your operating system, you decide the middleware, you decide runtime and data and applications. You own the boxes at the top. Then if you look at platform as a service, right, uh, we have even the middleware, the operating system and runtime managed by the vendor, right? So that's basically the platform as a service. Then you go to software as a service. So here everything is built by someone. You just use it. You subscribe to it and use it. So it's like pay per use, right? So it's like if you look at it like certain public infrastructure, right? You cannot afford to have it. You just call use a service that's provided by the government, right? You take a public transport or you fly. You don't have your own chartered flights, right? Of course, some people can afford it, but most of us can't afford it, right? So it's like that, right? So you use the service, pay for it, and that's it. You don't worry about who maintains the infrastructure, who maintains the flights or the transports. All you care is I pay for my ticket, I get in at a place, get on at another place, right? It's so much similar to that, right? The software as a service. And of course, the vendors provide all the commitments to the SLAs and all that stuff, right? So this is basically to give you an idea about different layers and different models that are available today in the market. And you would have also heard about public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and all that, right? So what happens there is, I think the question that I think we had right about data being uh, not safe. I don't want to put my database on the cloud. I'm okay to have my other layer on the cloud, right? I want to keep my database on the premise, something like that, right? So there you go for three options. One is you go for a public cloud, which everything is there on the cloud, right? It is managed by a third party vendor, hosted and managed, not just managed. You don't care about anything. Whereas you go for a private cloud, the thing is, it is again not managed by you. It is a separate data center. Everything is separate, but you get some exclusivity, right? You are the only tenant in that particular infrastructure. So it's a private cloud, right? And then you have hybrid cloud, wherein you have something on it. your premises and something on the cloud. So these are the 3-4 options that you have, right? You have this community cloud. Community cloud is nothing but you have the communities, right, where you do collaboration with your partners, with your employees, with your customers, right? B2B, B2C, and all that. So there you have certain things on the cloud and certain things on the premise, right? So as such, Salesforce is purely public cloud. I think they were very clear about their strategy. They believed in the fact that they can provide the best-in-class security, all that, and then they go public. So if you see, initially Oracle came with a lot of other options, right? Hybrid cloud, private cloud, all that. But today, if you see, they are kind of moved out. Slowly, they are giving top priority to the public cloud-based options. So I think it's a slow evolution that will happen, wherein all customers will move a lot of the first maybe the non-core functions, right? And then probably the core will stay on premise, because I think it will take probably some more time before. I don't think a mainframe can be so easily replaced, right? But of course, from an IT professional perspective, the jobs are all getting automated. I know infrastructure, everything is getting automated, right? You have robots or automated stuff replacing, and then as we move along, you do have the pressure of cost and all that. So all of us definitely would have an understanding of that. So definitely for an individual, it makes sense to be on the cloud, right? On the cloud happening space. And customers, they will take a call on a case-to-case basis, right? So this is just a view on the market share that Salesforce holds. Okay, I think there is a question. Hybrid, nothing but co-hosted. Yeah. So see, hybrid. What happens is, right? You can also have some amount of co-hosting there, but it is not as much as the public cloud, right? So you can have certain layers inside the premises where, like, you want the database, all that, to be safe, the data to be safe. You can have your app layers and other stuff on the public cloud, right? So in fact, Salesforce tried a small experiment 2 years back where they came with an option where you can keep your database on the premise, right? They called it, I think, DRO or something, data residency option, if I'm not wrong. But a few customers tried it, but the thing is, I think there was a lot of other security and latency issues and all that. So Salesforce also dropped that option, right? So they decided to open data centers in all these countries, right? Because European Union, or even I think in the Middle East, I remember there was a bank which did not want to go to Salesforce because of the public cloud option. Okay. Aditya, there is a question from Aditya. What are the main differences that Salesforce better compared to SAP? Yeah, from a SAP, I think I'll take this question a little later, but I'll keep a note of this. Definitely, I'll come back on this. I'll give you certain functional as well as probably technical differences, right? Definitely, we'll do that. There is a question from Satya Narayana. Disaster recovery. No, this is not disaster recovery. It's data residency option. So what they did was they gave an option of having data on the premise, then everything else on the cloud, right? DRO, disaster, not disaster recovery. It's more of data residency option. Yeah, that's a. Thanks for the question. It's a good question. In fact, many people, when you hear about DR, the first thing comes to your mind because of our experience is disaster recovery, right? There is so much that happens, but that has happened in the past 10 years, which we wanted to handle. So I'll move on. So this slide is just to show the CRM market share, right, in Salesforce. It's a little dated, probably 1-2 years old, but still Salesforce is continuing to gather more momentum, and their market share is definitely going up. Right, this is in the overall CRM space. And then if you see the disaster, sorry, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the disaster recovery question. Okay, so the CRM Gartner Magic Quadrant, right? So this is a quadrant that is released by Gartner, right, every year for different services and with different products, right? So if you see here, Salesforce is clearly in the leaders quadrant, and of course followed by Microsoft Dynamics CRM and Microsoft Dynamics CRM Online. If you see, other vendors are way behind, right? They're all almost left out in the race. And this is a very recent one. I think even this year, Salesforce continues to be the leader. There is no absolutely no doubt. And this is for the PAAS market, right? So the earlier one is more for the CRM, right? More of the SaaS part, right? This is the PAAS part. So even in this PAAS part, if you see, they have very clear leadership. It's like they're way ahead, right? In the race. So uh, this is just some idea just for you to, this publicly available information. I'll just quickly move on to this. So let's try to understand what the Salesforce platform is, right? So you'll hear about Salesforce.com, right? SFDC or Salesforce.com or SF1 or Salesforce One, or you'll also hear about Force.com platform, right? So let's see what each one is, right? So if you look at this diagram, uh, so this is where everything started, right? When Salesforce came into the market, these are the areas where they started off, right? So almost like this is their core, right? This was their core. This continues to be the core, right? Core areas. So Sales Cloud and Service Cloud are the two functional modules, right? Which basically represents the CRM, right? Customer relationship modules. This is the SaaS layer, right? Right at the top. And then the Force.com platform or the layer, right? Force.com layer is where you can build custom apps. You can have your own app, like the recruiting app that we are, sorry, not the recruiting app, we are going to build the student app, right? The student app, probably when we create it, it's going to sit here, right? So we will be building an app on top of the Force.com platform. And once you get it ready, it is basically, you can draw a diagram like this, of course, slightly better one, it doesn't look great, where you can say, I have a student master app. You can publish it on the App Exchange, which is similar to the Google Store and whatever you have, Apple Store and all that, right? Google Play Store and all that. So you can publish it on the app stores, right? App Exchange, and you can sell it as a offering from yourself, right? As a vendor. So there are different options. Of course, customers also use Sales Cloud, Service Cloud. They customize it, or they build their own. Like I said about Facebook, right? Facebook has their hire to retire process, the entire HR process built on top of the first come layer, right? So maybe I'll put a box here, right? So Facebook, right? Sorry about that, it's not very clear, but so this is a layer, or this is an app that is built, which is sitting on the SaaS layer, and they are not providing it to other vendors, but they're using for their own purpose, right? If you want to provide it to many customers, you can put it on the App Exchange. We'll talk about that a little bit, how App Exchange can be leveraged, what is there in App Exchange and all that. And if you look at the boxes in between, right, Salesforce One App, Salesforce One Platform API, and the Heroku and Exact Target. So what Salesforce did was, over a period of time, they've acquired a few more platforms, right? One is the Heroku platform, and then the Exact Target Fuel, right? So this is basically the Exact Target Marketing Cloud they acquired recently, one and a half years back. They had to integrate it because this is slightly running on a different technology, right? And Heroku, the good thing is Heroku allows you to port your other technology apps, right? I think mainly the Java JTE platform, right? And I think you can also do .NET. I'll confirm that. You can port your apps without rewriting a lot into Heroku. Whatever you're doing new, or if you think your code is completely outdated junk, you don't think it makes sense to just lift and shift to the cloud, right? You can use the Force.com platform. We'll see what are the options that are available in the Force.com platform, right? So the API layer, right, provides you options wherein you can write programs in, say, clients or programs in .NET or Java or any technology which kind of supports web services, right, which can call APIs and access the Salesforce platform, right, the data on the platform. So Salesforce provides support for web services and APIs. You can publish your functionality as APIs or web services, right, and other platforms can access it. Or you can build your own Salesforce One app, which basically the reason why they put it as a separate box is the Salesforce One app. They coined this term to represent the complete set of things, right? The Force.com, Heroku, and Exact Target, plus the mobility services they have launched. So the mobility services which they launched, revamped it and launched it, right? Recently, like maybe 1.5 2 years back. The good thing is you develop some, say, small app on the Salesforce platform. You can just see it on the mobile device, be it iOS or the Android platform, without having to write specific, code for the iOS or uh, the Android platform, right? You have to maintain two separate source codes. You have to do all that stuff. But of course, there are certain limitations. Uh, so it depends on the use case which you want to go for, right? And of course, they provide all mobile SDKs wherein you can uh, uh, you can build a native iOS app or Android app. I have a question from Manish. The question says, is Exact Target Fuel the marketing solution by Salesforce? Or it already had a marketing solution within? Okay, that's a good question. So they tried to fill the gap, right? Particularly in the marketing area, right? So there were a few other products which were probably doing better in the marketing space, right? Of course, the sales module does have ability to run campaigns, track the campaign outcome, right, or the return on investment from the campaigns uh, to the opportunities and leads that you get, right? But there were a few things which were lacking, particularly mass email marketing campaigns, and there were a few other products in the market like Marketo, and I think there was one more which is with Oracle. I think Marketo is with Oracle. So they wanted to fill that gap, so they picked up this product, right? So Exact Target Fuel is a full-blown marketing cloud offering from Salesforce. This is available as a a separate product also. So if you want to have full-fledged marketing solution, you can go for Exact Target. Okay, there is one more question from Aditya Narayan. Is there a specific use of these three platforms, or any can be used for any purpose? Yeah. So if you look at it, right, so Force.com platform, if you want to do something new, typically they recommend that the customer go for the Force.com platform, right? You build everything from scratch, or you think your legacy apps, which are probably running on, any of the legacy platforms, right? You think it's too completely gone, right? It's kind of unmaintainable beyond a point, right? And you feel you just by just moving the Java program from a data center to the Salesforce server doesn't make a big difference, because I want to do some transformation work. You better go for Force.com. So they give you this as an interim option, right? Where you say you're hell bent on being only on the Java, or on the, you don't want to get into the custom Salesforce platform. So there are customers who are using both. What they do is they want to take a step one, move to Heroku, use it. So they move to the cloud, right? So they started getting the benefit of moving to the cloud, and then slowly Salesforce will convert them to a pure Force.com customer, or they let them be happy on the Heroku platform. So it's kind of a transition that you can take, or you can just be on the Heroku platform also. So different situations probably will need a different type of solution, right? But anything new, typically go for the Force.com platform, right? That's how they sell it, and I think it makes a lot of sense to for the customers to do it that way, right? Because this has several inbuilt features including security, workflows, automations, approvals, reports, and all that stuff, right? Mobility support. I think you get a completely full-fledged platform if you want to go for this, right? So let's move on. So let's look at some of the declarative and programmatic options available in Force.com, right? So uh, you can create your data model, or you can create your objects, right? The database objects, which are nothing but your tables, right? In the Salesforce world, or sorry, in the RDBMS world, your tables and your data records, your fields, and all that. It supports all the RDBMS constraints or the rules, like you have master detail relationship, you can do many-to-many relationships, all that. And it is so easy to create the data model with just point and click stuff. And of course, you can automate it also with if you're a heavyweight techie, right? I don't want to do this using point and click. I want to just automate it. Yes, you do have options to uh, automate it, right? So just like any other platform, you can put in a lot of business logic. You can do process automations, approvals, workflows. They have a very rich UI options, very diverse UI options. You can completely do JavaScript, HTML, CSS, all the latest web technologies, right? JavaScript libraries. Uh, if someone has used the JavaScript libraries like Node.js or Bootstrap, you know, jQuery and all that, or you want to just use their proprietary UI, yes, you can do that. Then you have very good support for reports and nice dashboards and all that. Then you have mobile access, right? You can quickly access your app on mobile device. That's one very good thing about it. You don't have to do too much of coding. Quickly you see it on the mobile. You can do certain administrative activities on mobiles, and then slowly you build up, you expand your application. And if you want to go heavyweight programming, yes, like I said in the beginning, uh, they have the proprietary language called Apex. It is a completely object-oriented programming language like Java or C Sharp. So those of you who are on those areas, you will love to spend time here. And of course, we'll see some use cases where you cannot use declarative options. You'll go for program-matic options only, right? In this course, and of course, Visual Force is there, a proprietary UI scripting language. It's similar to HTML. It has tags and all that. The good thing is Visual Force doesn't force you to learn something completely new. If you know HTML, it's very easy. Even if you don't know HTML, you can learn this, and you don't have to worry too much about learning this, right? If you're not a hardcore programmer, or even if you are into some other technology, right? I'm a JavaScript guy. Why should I learn something? Yes, you can use very minimal Visual Force and go for heavyweight HTML JavaScript, right? Then similar to your database, right? Oracle or SQL Server or any SAP database, right? So which runs on Sybase or whatever, right? Uh, they have this query language, right? They call it SOQL, right? SOQL. So SQL stands for Structured Query Language. So SOQL stands for Salesforce Object Query Language, right? And SOSL is basically a search language, right? Salesforce Object Search Language. You can search for certain text across multiple objects, right? SOQL is pretty much the similar version of SQL. Yeah, I have a query from Vineet. Yeah. So Vineet, I think the way we have structured this course, right? And like I said in the beginning, it is a foundation course, right? For both, you know, not even both admin and developer. It's a course for even functional folks, right? So what we have done is we have picked up the best of all these areas, and you can go lightweight on technical stuff if you think you're not too comfortable. But what we are going to cover is very, very simple stuff on the technology side. And then we provide you a roadmap, and there is a scope, and we provide use cases wherein if you want to go in depth, yes, you can go in depth. So this course is a very balanced mix of all these tracks, right? And then this helps you plan your first level, right? In step one, uh, you have to know the declarative options, you have to know the platform, be it you're a functional consultant, be it you're a technical developer or a designer or an architect. Without knowing this, you cannot take the next steps, right? So I give you an example, right? Salesforce, if people join in Salesforce, right? So I have quite a few friends who have joined Salesforce directly, the professional services and all that. The first target they're given is they have to complete the foundation level certifications, right? The admin certification, the developer certification, then go for Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, and then admin, advanced admin. Then only they are asked to do Apex and Visual Force. The reason is they're asked to do this in the first 3 to 6 months window. The reason is they want to ensure everyone understands the basics of the platform. You cannot say that, I don't care about the platform. All I will do is write code, right? Or you cannot say that I don't care about what's functionality is there, what I can do with the platform out of the box. I'll only do one thing. So the foundation is very easy for all the people. They've kept it that way. To do the foundation, you have a strong footing on the platform. Then you kind of branch out, right? Like I said, the tech arcs, hardly 100, 150 people are there in the whole world. There's so much demand for tech arcs. They are the highest paid. Functional consultants, also they're in very good demand, right? Administrators are in very good demand. So it's a very good starting place, the administrator track or the developer. So that way you don't have to go too depth, right? This course has been designed in keeping in mind, and we'll plan it in certain custom way also. I know there are a few people who want to jump in more. I will definitely provide you more directions on that. There is a question from Aditya. Uh, SOQL full form, please. Yeah. So SOQL, right? It stands for Salesforce Object uh, Query Language, right? So it's basically Salesforce Object then Query Language. So SOSL, right? So SOSL is same, right? There is no big difference. Salesforce Object, first two words are same, right? It's search language. Okay. So what are the main difference, right? So what you can do with SOQL and what you can do with SOSL, what are the difference? So SOQL, right, it allows you to query data from specific tables or objects, right? Say in Oracle or SQL Server, you write select star from table student, right? Or select star from table contact, something like that, right? Or you may join two tables and retrieve some rows. So you will retrieve records from the database using SQL or SOQL. Whereas in SOSL, say I want to search for a particular text, some keyword, right? Uh, so there you use SOSL. You search, it's basically free text search, right? You search for a particular text from the across the database, right? You need not give any structured way of doing it, and we'll look at some examples when we do the modules, right? So it helps you search across multiple tables because you do not know where the text is present, right? You search it across multiple fields and multiple objects or tables, right? So I hope it was useful. Will anyway be seeing some more SOQL and SOSL action in some of the modules, right? So that time I'm sure you will be appreciate this much better, right? And apart from this, right, you can also write a lot of APIs, right? You can publish web services, and the web services can be consumed by external applications, right? So that also can be done using Apex and Visual Force. You can do batch jobs, asynchronous calls, uh, bulk data loads, right? You want to load 1 million records in the first time before go live. You have options for all of that, right? So if you want to say display maps, Google Maps, uh, you have options. So you want to integrate it to different things, right? So you can also use Salesforce as an identity provider, right? So several things can be done using Salesforce, programmatically and declaratively. So we'll move on. So this is what I was talking about, right? So you have support for XML, JSON, HTML, JavaScript, right? Ability to do data loads, and you have apps available on the App Exchange, which are already developed by many people. You can reuse them. Some are free, some are paid. We'll see some examples as we move along. And there are a few tools apart from what is available in Salesforce, right? There are a few external tools which can also be used. Like if you have used, some of you are Java programmers, I'm sure you would have used Eclipse IDE, right? You can also use Eclipse in Salesforce to store all your class files, schema and all that, right? So Salesforce provides support to the Eclipse uh, IDE, right? So they have their own force.com IDE, which is a plugin. You install it inside the Eclipse, and you can integrate with your GitHub or Mavens or CVS and all the code repositories, right? So just like whatever you do in Java, you can do here. Any Java program, right? You can do like test automations. You can do DevOps best practices. You can do continuous integration testing, right? That is anyway part of DevOps. Uh, you can automate a lot of testing. You can do a lot of regression testing. Salesforce has a built-in code coverage criteria, right? So these are all for strong technical folks you want to explore more, right? We're not going to cover these things in the course in depth, but we'll be talking about and touching upon them. And the reason I'm highlighting this is it's absolutely exciting for all roles, right? You have something for every role, and it's so exciting. And they have all the stuff. They support all the latest stuff which is there in the market, right? So we'll just try to understand this little bit now, but I will come back to this slide later. For those of you who are not completely technical, right? Don't worry about it. Uh, you can just time being ignore it also. Don't worry about it. Okay. So uh, and so what happens is, right, in any system, right, any application, you have the database layer where you store the data, right? You store all your customer data, accounts data, orders, um, invoices, whatever, right, in the system. And at the same time, you also store some data about the data, right? The structure of the database, uh, you know, all that stuff, right? So Salesforce has these three layers. It's logical and not like it's very physical. And it's not that you use a shared database, right? This is not technically 100% correct. Don't misinterpret this. It's not that they provide you one database where 10 customers are going to sit, right? Internally, how they implement it, it's their own problem. But you get dedicated resources, you get everything that you need. And some of you would have heard about virtualization, which was very popular. Even now, I think it's still there in many places, right? So wherein you share multiple apps, share the same servers, same hardware, and all that. And here it's a bit at the logical layer. It's not at the hardware layer, wherein you store the data about data. That is called metadata. So they split the data about data, right, metadata into two parts. One is the common metadata, other is tenant specific metadata. So I will come to this again, right? Once we create some Salesforce objects, we see what is Salesforce. We'll revisit this. Don't worry too much about this slide at this point of time, right? But just remember that there is something called data and there is something else called metadata, right? So that's something you need to understand. If I have to give you an example, right? We live in an apartment, right? So let's say there are 30 flats, right? Most of the flats will have a common structure, right? You'll have three bedrooms, you'll have a kitchen, you'll have a few toilets, you have some puja rooms and whatever, right? Typical, you have a TV room, living room, dining room. That's a template, right? Common template for all the houses, right? But some people would customize their specific rooms, right? They may want to put some false ceiling, they may want to put some things internally, right? So they don't damage the external template, the structure of the building. They adhere to that. If you look at it from outside, yeah, this is a 3 BHK flat. There are 33 3 BHK flats. They all look same. But you get inside, there are certain specific customization. The paint color may be different. You may have a different flooring. You may even the rooms may be slightly bigger, smaller. You may do certain stuffs like your vastu and all that, right? So that's tenant specific data, right? Metadata. Common day metadata is like if you see all your kitchens are going to be at the same side of the building, right? So one tenant cannot have the kitchen in one corner and another tenant cannot have the kitchen in another. It's going to create a big problem for the guys who are laying the pipes, right? Infrastructure. So you can't deviate everything, right? But still you stick to a common template and then you go for a tenant specific template. Wherever you can customize, you customize. So just keep this analogy in mind. I'll come back again to explain from a technical Salesforce perspective also later, right? So I think I already talked about this multi-tenant thing just now. So if you are living in an apartment apart from the common rules, right? So you cannot say I'll have my kitchen right in the middle of the flat, right? You have to have it in one side because the piping infrastructure is going to be run commonly for all the people, right? You cannot be a deviator there. Whereas other rooms you can deviate, right? Something like that. Or you have certain shared resources, right? Your elevator or the lift or your parking. Parking, of course, within the parking you have your own dedicated parking, right? Water supply you may have to share. So things like that, right? So there are few things which are exclusive within your flat. Everything is exclusive for you. The power supply probably is exclusive to you. You don't have to worry about sharing it, right? You pay for your bill, but maybe the lift and other things, right? They're shared, right? There may be certain other things which you need to share. So uh, Prasad, I'm looking at your question. Can we get uh, presentation copies? Is that your question? Yeah, yeah. So see, I'll just show you this module, right? So if you look at this, when you log into the Edureka website, right, uh, you will go to My Courses. Uh, I'll show you that after I close this slide, right? I'll just show you. You get the presentation, you get the video recording of this entire session, so you can look at it any number of times. It's available for you, right? Yeah, yeah, presentation also. Presentation as well as the video, both. They are available separately. So, looking at this multi-tenant, right? So there are certain things you cannot misuse, right? Resources have to be shared. There are certain things you can have some liberty, right? For example, if you're having a printer, right? It's a printer shared between 50 people. Typically, they put in a limit of number of pages each person can print, right? You can't just keep printing 2,000 pages throughout the day, one person, right? There is a limit that is imposed, only 10 pages a day or 50 pages, something like that. So there are certain limits. So they call as governor limits. It doesn't mean this platform is not having enough power. Okay, platform provides you enough power, just that you have to respect some of the limits. And having said that it's a shared platform, you have to do it. And even in your dedicated data centers and other platforms, right? I'm sure your Java memory space, right? The JVM space, it's not unlimited, right? You only get max of 4 GB, and in that you have 2 GB for Java and 1 GB for the C heap, right? And 1 GB for the code and all that. It's not that you have unlimited space there, right? So everywhere there is a limitation, right? It's not that the data or the database which is there on your premise has something which is completely unlimited. Right? So basically you have to use the resources optimally. That's the whole point here, right? So what are the business and IT benefits, right? So I think we have seen a few things already. We all appreciate it, I'm sure. So uh, if you look at one key point, right? So Salesforce has this option wherein it's not an option. Every year there are 3 product releases, right? The point which is there here, right? Every year there are 3 releases. So what it means is, unlike uh, other products where there could be multiple releases, you have to do a product upgrade, right? The product upgrade project will run for 18 months, 2 years. You have to do everything, change the complete platform, top to bottom. Whereas the Salesforce releases happen seamlessly, and absolutely there is no outage, right? You can selectively apply the features, and they when they do the releases, they take care of all the testing for you, right? We'll see how they do that, but it's an amazing thing they do. Absolutely no outage when you do a new release, and it's up to you. If you want to use the new features, you use it, or if you don't want, you don't use it. They're not going to charge you anything extra. You continue to pay the same license fee, right? Uh, and if they provide something very unique, completely new feature, of course you may have to pay something extra, but it's up to you. You want to pay for it, or you don't want to, you decide. It's not like, you buy a new version and you have to pay for it, the new price, right? So those are certain uh, advantages, and it's available both on the browser as well as your smartphone. So today, with the mobile space exploding so much, right, in terms of the usage and adoption, so Salesforce is already there on the mobile platform. We'll see more about these things as we look at different features of the platform, right? So I touched upon this, so I'll just skip this slide, right? So of course, you don't have to do the survey now. Towards the end, after we complete our 3 hours, you can take a quick survey. It just comes after every module. But don't worry, you just do it once. Hardly there are 2-3 questions. It will be very valuable for us if you want to provide any uh, descriptive feedback also. It will be really useful for me to make this thing better, right? So we're just completing the initial first module, right? So I'll switch to the next one, right? We'll quickly move to the platform and see how it looks, because I'm sure all of you would be eagerly awaiting to see how Salesforce looks, right? I've been talking about it for the past 1.5 hours. So any questions before I move to the next one? So I think there was one question about the presentation, right? So you can see that when you log in into this course, right, you'll get this presentation here. You can view it here. There is a module level quiz for each module. It's a very simple objective multiple choice question, right? Just For each module, we have put in some 10 to 12, 15 questions, and you'll have the answers also. You can just review yourself. But please do take this quiz. It's quite handy. There may be some questions which exactly don't come exactly from the slides. Just test your overall knowledge. Uh, don't worry about that. We can discuss later also if you have any issues. And after the course is over, I think the video will also appear here or somewhere here, right? You can see the video of this entire session, recording, right? Rather the recording, not the video. So we'll get that. So we'll go to the second module. Don't worry about the tick mark. I was just reviewing the contents. So I think it just tick mark is not a problem. For you, it will show it in a different way. So we'll switch to the second module. I think there is a question. Okay, I think it was okay for the earlier one. Yeah. So let's look at the building blocks of the platform, right? Uh, I will continue with this slide. Do type in any questions you may have, uh, but just I'll keep moving, right? So let's look at some of the building blocks of the platform. That will be our module 2, right? Uh, we'll look at the following objectives, right? So how to build a custom app on the post.com platform. How do you just get started there? And then understand certain things about the platform. Don't worry about the objective. I'm not going to read it one by one. I'll probably come to the objectives after we look at the slides, because I'm sure then only you'll be able to relate what I have typed there. Right now, it may all be sounding completely new to you folks, right? So I'll move to the next slide. So let's see how we can sign up for a new environment, right? So this is the real stuff, right? Because you're getting into the environment. So in Salesforce, typically, we don't call it an environment. We call it an organization or an org, right? Or a sandbox. We usually don't say environment or instance, which is used in our other areas, right? But it's all same, interchangeably used. It just means that's your development environment or a production environment, right? Org. So the good thing that Salesforce does is they provide you a free lifetime environment, right? You just sign up for it. It's just like signing up for a Gmail or a Facebook or a Twitter account. Sign up for it. They'll give you all the user ID details. And then the environment has a built-in database. It's got a user-friendly UI. You do lots of stuff there. And like I said in the earlier session or in the earlier module, not just that you do everything from the environment, right? The UI. You can use Eclipse. You can use other tools to do different things, right? If you are a hardcore programmer, so you have both the options, right? But some of the basic things they provide you, the UI, administrator and creating certain. So we will go through the UI. We'll see all the foundation level. Then when you become an expert, it's up to you how much you want to use the UI, right? But the building blocks are all same, right? So it's pretty much like Oracle, like I said earlier, it supports most of the RDBMS things, concepts that you may be aware of. I'll anyway cover for the benefit of some of you who may not understand the concepts. And if you think you need some additional pointers, I'll be more than happy to help you out, right? Don't worry about it. Uh, I'll take care of that. So we'll move to the real thing, right? So let me just, from now I think I'll use more of the system than the, sorry. So this is where you sign up, right? I'll just move this as a separate window. So this is the URL, right? Developer.salesforce.com, I'll just type it. Just give me a minute. I'm just looking out for the screen where question window, right? I thought I'll just type. Okay, great. I got the. Yeah, thanks, Mitra. I think I'm just giving you this URL. I'm just typing it for all the people. I hope everyone got it. I think I'll just send to all. Yeah. So you can click on the URL, right, on the window. If you have any issue in clicking on the URL, you can just type uh, developer.salesforce.com/signup, right? Just type this URL and press enter. Will help you create a new environment. So once you're done this, right, you get this window. You type in your name, provide a working email ID, right? Because you get emails on this email ID. And then you type in your role, you provide some company name. So provide some name, don't worry about the company name now. You can just provide your name itself, right? It doesn't matter, right? And then provide a location, whatever. Then this one is important, right? It can be same as your email ID. If you not used your email ID earlier for registering a Salesforce environment, uh, you can use the email ID and the user ID as same. If you used it before, you registered before, right? Some of you probably would have given it a shot. Uh, just type something which will make this unique, right? Of course, it'll give an error if it's not unique. Then you can make some small changes and just make it unique, just like you registered for a user ID, right? So do this and then select this checkbox. Just do sign me up. So I'm also going to do this now. So you should get your mail quickly, right? You can just open your mailbox and look for that email. It usually comes within a few minutes. Yeah, you should see the screen and then just wait for that email. I think probably we are all registering all at the same time, so it's probably taking some time. Yeah, I got my email. You guys should have got your email. It's okay if you have not got it. We'll wait for a few minutes. So I'll just click on this link which is given in the email, and this is my user ID. So what I'll do is I'll just store my email ID. It's anyway there in your email, but still just for a quick reference, right? You have an issue in last line. So you mean in the username? I think Aditya. Okay. So is it like saying it's already being used or something? You can just try to make it unique, because maybe there is someone who's having the same type of user ID, right? I don't know. If you're given an email ID, I'm sure unless you have not used it before, it should not be giving you this problem. But if you've registered before with the same email ID, maybe just make a small change, right? Just add some number or something that will make it unique. Like even I have the same problem. So I already have a ID called Devanand SFDC. So I just included Devanand SFDC too, right? Just to make it unique. But my email ID remains the same. Okay. So I'll just do this for my system, my environment. So just type in a password that you can easily remember. Just leave this, that's okay. If you want to put in your right details, feel free to do, because this would be a question, right? If you forget your password, but that's okay, man. Just remember the question, security question that you've given, right? That's more important. Okay, great. I think Aditya were also through. So just do this. You should have got the email by now, all of you, and do the same, change password. Just note down your user ID and password somewhere in Notepad, or whatever tools that you use regularly, right? So this is your Salesforce screen. Okay. So we'll take some quick tour of the Salesforce environment, right? This is the first time we are seeing it. I will say show me later to this particular screen pop-up that I have. We'll do our own tour, right? So this is how the Salesforce screen looks for some people who are seeing it for the first time, right? So we'll see what are the different areas that we should be aware of. So right at the top, right, you see the Salesforce logo, of course, and then you see this mug, coffee mug, or whatever, cocoa mug, right, with sugar cubes and all that. So this is basically the icon they use to show which release they are in, right? Oh, okay, sure. I'll wait. I think we need you on. Sure, sure, I'll wait. Once you have the environment ready, uh, I would suggest, for time being, you just don't do don't play around at this point of time, right? Once you get the registration done, that's sometimes a bit challenging for sometimes. So once you're getting in, logging in, I would suggest just look at the screen that I am showing. Then you can do this yourself later, right? But ensure that you have the environment ready, because for all the other things, we need the environment in place, right? We can't proceed without the environment. So we'll give it a few more minutes. Um, while we wait, if there are any questions from anyone, you can just type in there. Sure, sure. Take your time in it. No problem. I hope others are all able to make progress. If there is any issue, let me know. I'll help you out. But it's relatively easy process. Is this a 30-day? No, no. This is not a 30-day free trial. This is a different one. So the 30-day free trial, you get it from a different URL, right? I think if you go to salesforce.com directly, right? So there they give you a 30-day trial, which is uh, more for a business user. They don't give you options to do development and all that there, right? Mostly they help you just play around with the environment. But this one is lifetime. You just use it, and I've never seen Salesforce get rid of any developer environment. That's another great thing about them. I'm sure thousands and thousands of people are signing up, and I'm amazed how they're able to provide free development environments on the cloud in just 2 minutes, right? It's just unbelievable, right? it's not just like a Gmail or a Facebook, right? You just use it as a user, but this one you do development, and it's there on the cloud and it's there forever. It's available 24 by 7, and if there is an outage, they give you that there is an outage. That's the great thing. It's as if it's treated like a production environment, right? And they give you outage window of just 5 minutes. I've seen outages window for developer environment, and it's just 5 minutes. That's it. And sometimes maybe half an hour or a few hours, and they do it pretty much in the night, midnight PST, right? So that's the unbelievable part of this product. Good. I think everyone's ready. I'll move on. So this is your screen. Okay, this is where you're going to do all your stuff. And if you we'll take one by one, right? So this is the logo, Salesforce logo with the cloud logo and all that. This shows that the latest logo for the release. So this basically represents Winter 16 release, right? I'll show you how you can verify that. What is the latest release and all that. There is wonderful, wonderful communications they do. They over communicate, right? Salesforce about the releases and all that. So for time being, just assume that you are on Winter 16, okay? So they have 3 releases, like I said, right? Winter, summer, and I think spring, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So this is a global search window. We'll look at this later. Don't worry about it. Then this is my profile, right? So this is my user ID that I have used. So whatever user ID you have used, it's going to display here, right? Click on this. You have my profiles, my settings, the developer console, and logout. Time being, I'm not going to do anything here. Uh, just leave it as is. Then you have setup window, then you have help, and then this is an interesting piece. You have some apps, right? I'll just click on it, okay? Just observe what happens, right, when I click on it. You can see some things are changing here, right? On this, you just make a note of this, right? Okay. I'll pick up another app. I'll pick up call center, right? So you would have observed that there are some changes coming in, right? So you do content. The tabs are changing here, right? So these are tabs. Basically, these are links. This is your home tab, right? Then this is your chatter window. We'll see about chatter in one of the modules. Chatter is a collaboration tool which is similar to Facebook, and you can call it Facebook for the enterprise, right? I'm just skipping all these screens which are popping up. You just ignore them for time being, right? Then go to sales. You'll see more tabs, right? So let's try to understand what these are, right? So when I click on, say, accounts, right, or leads, let's see what comes up when I click on leads or accounts. So when I click on accounts, before that, what I'll do is I'll just erase this, and also do one more thing. I'll just close this particular window. Okay. So basically, you can download the Salesforce app on your mobile device if you have a smartphone, on Android or on iOS, right? I think they are yet to provide a support for Windows platform. I think they will do it probably quickly. So you can download it and just install it. Don't do it now. We'll have a separate module to just tell you how to do all that. But probably after this session, you can just try downloading. I'm sure you would have installed several apps. No harm. And you can use the same user ID password and just play around. Right? I'll close this just to create some space. I'll click on accounts. Sorry, contacts. So if you look at contacts, it shows certain things, right? So there is a list here. It shows all contacts. Then you have some other filters, right? So these are some contacts which are available in the system. There are 20 contacts, right? 1 to 20. So they have provided you some sample data, right? Sample records. And let's click on a contact, right? Timbar. Account name is Grand Hotels, and so there are some details visible, right? So this is your screen, right? Default screen that's available. It shows the contact detail, Mr. Timbar. It shows his, all these Facebook, Twitter, and all his handles. I'm not going to click on anything now. You can do it later. It's just that they show you, if you provide the right details, they'll pick up these things. Okay. Then we'll just look at this contact detail, right? So you have contact owner. I'm unable to see account tab. Okay. Can you just see which app you're selected here? You just select sales, and I think you should see the account tab or other tabs. If you've selected some other app, probably it will show something else. Let's say if I select this, right, it probably may not show you the account tab, right? Because account tab is not part of the tab. So just take a look and okay, thanks Manish. So I'll come back to this, right? Contacts and one like I said earlier, don't worry about playing around right now. You have enough time. Just look at what I'm doing because I'll be highlighting a lot of important stuff that you need to understand, right? So this is a filter, right? You can create new filters also, uh, or say for example my contacts, right? It will show you only your contacts, or it will show you new this week, right? Recently viewed contacts. I think we just saw Timbar, right? All contacts, stuff like that. You can create your own filters here, right? My filter, right? I'll select all contacts. We'll just do some filtering here, right? And you put in some condition. Maybe I don't know what we can put, right? So maybe we can try something. Mm, let's just say maybe country, right? I'm hoping country has some data. So I may have to look at the data right before I put in the filter. Maybe I'll just do this for an easy one. Right. I just select the filter here. Yeah, facts and numbers. Yeah, I'll just pick up some filter here. So I'll just say Mr. and maybe I want to see all doctors. I don't want to be sounding biased here. So I just say doctor and professors, right? Let's see if we have any doctors and professors who has the salutation doctors and so you can use any field. Okay, it just that you set the filter. Looks like there are no doctors and so that's okay. Yeah, so do you want us to do right now? There is a question. Yeah, better you just watch what I'm doing and then you have some labs wherein you will be asked to do some of these things. Plus, you can always watch the demo for exploring these things. Right? It will be good if you can just watch so that it's easy for you because you can focus on what I'm saying, right? And then you can play around. So we'll remove this salutation. Maybe I think I'll have to go with There is a bit of a delay. Usually it doesn't come so slow. So I'll just go with Mr., Miss, and Mrs. Probably you have some people. I'm sure most people will be there. Yeah. So there are 19 people, right? So we have 19 people. So we have filtered out a few, right? So you can add different filters here, right? Different statuses, say, or different countries and stuff like that. You can see different details. Let us click a customer, right? Particular contact, and look at some details. Right? So this is the contact owner name. Uh, so it is going to show your name here because what they do is they just do load the data for you in your name. So when you created the environment, whatever name you have given and logged in, right? Whatever whoever is logged in here, they show all the records in their name. So they show you all the details, right? Then and then these are certain uh, opportunities which are against this particular case or contact, right? There are no opportunities, but there are some cases related to this particular person, right? Remaining things are not there. As you go along, you can create more things, right? You can create a, let's say, a new task, uh, follow up. I'll give a date, right? I'll say follow up by November 5th. So I'll get an alert, right? It will put it on your calendar. Then you can set a status for the tasks, uh, in progress and something like. Then you can put in a meeting or comments, right? Follow up on the previous meeting, whatever, right? Just put some tasks, set a reminder, and do all that, right? So these are very simple things, right? So this is very useful, productive wise because you can put in all the details that you have about the contact and you will get the reminders automatically, right? You can do open activities, you can log a call, you can send an email, request an update, you can do some campaigns, you can put in some notes, attach some files, right? All that stuff. So what we have seen here is, right, you have seen a particular contact detail. This is a record in the database. It's just being displayed here. Then it also shows you opportunities, cases, and open activities. These are some more related records, right? So you can see that you have opportunities here. Yeah, yeah. Aditya, I'll come to your question. It's a good question. Uh, I'll come to that, right? So let's look at opportunities, right? This is another tab. So these are all standard tabs and standard stuff that is available, right? So contacts is stored in probably an object called contacts or a table, right? Or say opportunities are stored in a, you know, so I'll just show you for the benefit of some of you, right? So I'm sure all of you are familiar with using an Excel and looking at uh, in the tabular formats, right? So if someone is not sure about what I'm talking about in terms of records and tables, right? We'll just give you a quick analogy here. So, so this is a list of opportunities here, right? So there are 31 opportunities, right? They're in different stages and all. We'll study about opportunities, accounts, contacts, all that, right? So we have a module dedicated for Sales Cloud. We have a module dedicated for Service Cloud, which is basically the call center, right? So we'll understand more about these accounts, contacts, uh, you know, and few other things, right? Cases, uh, opportunities, and all this, right? Contracts. We'll see them more from a functional point of view, right? We have two modules which talk about functional aspects in Sales Cloud and Service Cloud, but here we are just trying to understand that, I have accounts. If I click on Accounts tab, it shows me account details, right? So this is similar to what you have in a spreadsheet, right? Say I have one sheet called accounts. I may have one more sheet called contacts, right? I can have one more sheet called opportunities, right? So here I'll type in some details, right? So each row represents one particular account, right? If I go to contact, each row is a contact. If you go to opportunities, each row is a opportunity. So you can type in more details here, right? You can add some fields uh, like what we see here, right? So I'm sure all of you would be able to appreciate this. In case you have a problem, let me know. I'll explain this, right? So these are basically tabs, right? There is a question from Manish. So changes done here, will you also be covering those changes available on mobile app? You mean if I make changes on the mobile app, will they be visible here or vice versa? Is that the question? Okay. Yeah, yeah. So you can see the same uh, content. Of course, the layout will look a little different, uh, but yes, you can see the same data on the mobile app also, right? You can see some of these tabs. You may not see all the tabs, or they show it in a slightly different way. The UI is slightly different, but yes, you can see the same data. Okay, so these are some records, right? So when I click on the tab, it shows the records inside that particular uh, tab or inside that, right? This is like your tabs or Excel sheets, right? Different sheets. So just remember that the tabs are like your sheets in the Excel, right? If you click on them, you show relevant records. Now, one level further, right? This is stored somewhere, right? So in the Excel sheet, we know that uh, we very well know that in the Excel sheet uh, that they are stored inside the Excel sheet in the form of it's a file, right, on your hard disk. You can go to the hard disk, double click that and open, but it has certain limits. Yeah. So I'm sure many of you would have seen database also. Uh, so these are all called database objects or tables, right? So tables or objects represent the storage space or the logical storage unit. So you will have different objects, like you have account object, you'll have contact object, you'll have opportunity objects, and you store accounts in accounts object, you store contacts in contact object, something like that, right? And of course, the tab is the visual element, right? So those of you who have worked in Java or .NET or C Sharp, right? Object-oriented programming and even other three-tier architecture and all that, right? Would have heard about MVC, right? MVC, Model View Controller. So I'll talk about it a little later. Just remember this word, MVC, Model View Controller. So Salesforce supports this MVC design pattern. So any application, right? I always look at it this way. I can do only 4 things in a system. I don't care whether it is mainframe, AS400, SAP, Oracle, whatever. Doesn't matter anything. You can do only 4 functions, right? You can add data, you can modify data, you can read the data, or you can delete it, right? Add, modify, delete, and read. Or in technical terms, it's called as CRUD, right? C-R-U-D, CRUD, right? Create, right? C-R-U-D, right? Create, read, update, delete. Or I'll always say add, modify, delete, read. There is nothing else you can do in a system, right? And the way you store things, right? Just like you store it in an Excel, you type things and store it here. You use database because Excel sheets have limitations. You can't store too much data, then you can't link accounts and contacts and opportunities beyond a point. It becomes a big mess, right? Excel sheets are always troublesome beyond a point. Of course, finally, many customers go and use Excel sheets for many purposes. It's always handy. But still, Salesforce is definitely flexible compared to other systems, and people have a higher adoption rates. I'll tell you why, right? How they manage to do that. So, but coming to this, you can only do this, right? Add, modify, delete, and read. That's it. Just remember this. And then the other thing I told you is MVC, right? I do have a slide for this, but I'm just typing in this. Okay, model, view, controller. What it means is, right? Again, model, view, and controller. It's nothing but model is nothing but data or the data model where you have this structure, right? For accounts, I have a structure. I have contacts because if I store, say, account one, then I store contact one, right? And I store opportunity one, everything in one sheet, it becomes a big mess, right? Logically, we always, even when we use Excel sheet, what I do, I'd say account one, account two, account three, account four. I want to store similar data, similar records in, sorry, I think I typed it in the wrong sheet. That's okay. So I just want to store related things in a same table, right? So contact one, contact two, like this, right? So similarly in database also, you create the storage structure or the table or the objects in the so in such a way that you store similar things in the same thing, right? So that it's optimized, the storage is optimized, right? So that's what it is, right? Then you store it, right? Like I said, you do add, modify, delete, right? And read. So I need to present it on the screen, right, for the end user, because the end user, there is no other way he can see the data or edit it, right? So this is my end user view. I do not care where the data is stored. I don't care about RDBMS or DBMS. I don't care what it is. I don't know what it is internally. I'm least bothered. All I see is a table. I see some data. I'll click on it and I'll edit it, right? I'm least bothered where the data comes from, right? I'm an end user. I just want to see the view. Maybe I'll change something here. I'll change it. I'll make some changes and just save. I don't care what happens when I click save. When I open it again, I want to ensure whatever I saved has changed. I mean, whatever I changed is saved. That's all I'm worried about, right? So this is a view layer, right? So presentation layer, right? How you present things. This is a front end, right? So like your car dashboard, right? You you press some buttons or you turn on your ignition key, the car engine starts. You don't care what happens inside the engine, under the hood. I turned on the key, the car started. I switched to my automatic gear, or I switched to my first gear, second gear. I press the accelerator, my car moves. Those are the visual elements, right? I don't care what happens inside. But something is going to take care of moving things between the database, displaying it on the screen, accepting the user changes, storing it back in the database, right? There is someone in between who does all this dirty job. That's the controller, right? The controller takes care of all your logic. It does certain validations, right? So, for example, phone number means you should only type number. It should be 10-digit long. Date of birth means it should be of some format. You cannot put date of birth as today, right? You have to put some other date in the past, or you should have an age of 30 or 20, right? Or things like that, right? So validations and all that, right? Business logic. The controller layer takes care of that. So typically, Salesforce, when I click this, right? When I click save here, several things have happened in the background, which I'm least bothered about as an end user. But as a developer or even as an admin, as an IT guy, I need to understand something is happening behind the screens, which is displaying data and storing it back, right? So that's about your MVC and CRUD, right? So Salesforce supports all this good stuff that you would have heard in your other technology, right? So let's look at some of the building blocks, right? So we saw some tabs, we saw some, uh, we just discussed about objects. I'll get into the object, right? I'll show you what is an object in action, right? So whatever I'm seeing here is a developer view, right? What I usually suggest is you go to setup, right? You just right click this, open it in a new tab. Okay, just keep these two tabs side to next to each other. uh, the reason I do this is just for saving time, ease of use, nothing else. There is nothing else about it. uh, this is my user view, right? I don't want to see anything technical here, right? I just want to see data, business view. This one, when I click on setup menu, right, this takes you to the administrator or developer mode, right? So this is available only to the system administrator. Not all users can see this view, right? So if you observe the left hand side, the menu options which are there here, you have force.com home. We have some more options. We'll see these things later. Uh, so the most important thing that you do from your this course perspective is this area, right? You do a lot of administration stuff. You do a lot of build. Build is nothing but you create or develop, right? You create Apex classes, triggers, and all that. You customize existing objects, right? Existing functionality. You create apps, objects, and all that. So we'll look at all of these one by one because this is our play area. Right? You can do deployments, you can monitor things, and don't think you do everything from the front end. Like I said in the beginning, you can use force.com IDE. Of course, you have a developer console also. We'll see these things towards the later part of the course, right? So initial part of the course would be more declarative, right? That's how the certification also are structured in Salesforce, right? So it's very important to understand the building blocks. So we saw tabs, we saw some apps, list of apps. The question in your mind will be, how will I create my own tabs? How will I create my own apps? How do I do it, right? And we'll see how to do that, right? So click on setup here, okay? And then go to I'll go to customize. Okay, I'll just show you a few things here. If you remember, we looked at account object, right? So let's see if we find the account object here. So this is a developer come administrator view. Okay, it's more of a developer view, but yes, administrator can also see this. Functional guys can also see this, right? So these are the fields in the account object, right? You have account name, number, owner, site. Let's see how it looks here on the front end, right? So click on this account. Okay. So this is basically the account from a user view, right? Account owner, name, account number, type, industry, revenue, billing address. So you can see all of these fields are available here, right? So all the fields have some data types, standard data types, like it can be name, it can be text. Tell you what is lookup later. You have pick list. I'll tell you. I'll give you an example. Currency, address, you know, long text, number, pick list again, fax, hierarchy, phone, right? All of these types, right? So URL, you also have email data types, right? So you have some ready-made fields available in the system already. So account is a standard object, okay? Account is a standard object and it has some standard fields, okay? Then you can also create some custom fields in account. Suppose you do an analysis of your requirements as a functional consultant. The first thing you have to do is come here and see, can I map the requirements to the fields available here, right? So that's why it is important for a functional consultant as well as a developer to understand this, right? As well as an administrator, because administrator would be doing a lot of stuff here. So I see that, yeah, I need something new. I don't think I can manage my requirements with this field. I want to create a new field on the account object. Go ahead and click it here and create. Okay. Then I want to set some validation rules. So what are they? So what are validation rules? Very simple. Validation rules just perform validations of your data. Like I said, date format. It's not about date format. It's more of, say, age should be greater than 30, right? Or age, or say your salary minimum, or number of years of experience. Things like that should be 5, 10. So some basic validations that you can do, right? I'm sure someone who have done UI in JavaScript, or if you used any package, you would have done validations, right, for your field. Then you can do so many other things. We'll come to these later. We'll see what is a page layout, right? So there are different page layouts here. We'll click on one page layout that's available here. We'll see why you need multiple page layouts later. So this is my page layout. As the name says, it is a visual thing, right? It's a layout. It's a visual thing. So if you look at this, right, does it look familiar? Does these things look familiar to this, right? Account owner, account name, whatever you see here, right, is basically picked up from here, right? There are some sections: account information, header, account address, additional information. So you see some of the things, right? Maybe this is a different layout which is being displayed here, right? We'll come to that. So these are some of the fields which are available on the page layout. So if you look at the view, right, this is the template for your page layout, right? And this is what is displayed here on the screen, okay? And this is all the data that is available in the system, okay? So we'll go back. We'll come to this later. We have a good number of things to understand from here. We'll pick it up a bit later. Let me just click on one more layout, right? Just see if this resembles the page layout we see on the. Looks like at least they are in sequence, right? So we have ways to find out which page layout is getting displayed. We'll talk about those topics a little bit later, right? So if you see, these are some of the related things: contacts, opportunities also. This screen, what you see here, is basically from one of these page layouts. Okay, so page layout is the form or the screen which kind of manipulates all the things which are displayed. So it links what is there in the Excel sheet or in the table and displays it on the screen, right? That's the sequence, right? There's a logical relationship. Now let's see uh, some. Uh, I think we saw the account object and the fields, right? Then we saw the tabs. Then we look at some tabs also, like so. I think more than the tab here, we'll see some more objects. Like okay, we have contact object, right? So just like you have the contacts here, we have contact object, their fields, validation rule, page layouts, and some more things. We'll understand all of this in this course. Now, I don't want these objects. All I want to do is have my own object and my own apps, right? So we'll see how to do this, right? So we'll just go to this slide just for the sake of ensuring we are on track, right? So the most important building block is the app, right? Then you have the tab, then you have page layout, right? Then you have objects. So you have standard objects like accounts, contacts, and all the other stuff. And of course, you also have custom objects, right? I want to create my own custom object. How do I do it? I go to setup, build, create an objects. I click on custom object here, new custom object. I'll say my first object, right? I'm just giving some name here. You can just put in the same name here. It's okay. And put in some description. Go with all the default options which are here. Don't worry about changing them now. And you can have a data type selected for this particular field, right? So there is a field which is created, which is called the name, right? Name field, which is a field which is available in all the objects. And you can select it as a text or a auto number. And auto number is just something like this, right? Uh, say if you do it like this, you'll start with the A001, A002 as you create more records. We'll see this in action, you'll understand it better. And I'll leave the remaining things unchecked. I'll not do any changes here. We'll see all these options in detail. Okay, just I'm quickly creating an object, right? So I created my first object, right? That's a great thing. Very simple object. So this is my first object. This is a custom object. So when you say custom object, what it means is I have created a object myself. Okay. Screen is moving. So are you saying that I should go a bit slow, Aditya, or is it like you have some disturbance that you're saying? Do you want me to go slow? Am I clicking too fast? Oh, okay. Sorry. I'll go slow. Sorry about that. I'll come back. I created my first custom object. I clicked on setup. Okay. I'll just go back again. Then I go to build, then objects, right? Under create. I see my first object, right? This is my object that I have created just now. I click on this object, right? So this is my first object, okay? So my first object underscore underscore. My first object underscore underscore C. So if I look at my object, which is standard object, right? Account. An account object will not have this underscore C. Okay. So that is one important point you need to differentiate between an account object or a standard object and a custom object. Okay. So you just try to understand this menu. It will take some time, don't worry. You just play around, click around here and there. So when you see customize, you see all standard objects that can be customized, right? These are standard objects available in the system already created for you. Each have their own fields. You can go ahead and customize them. Okay. Whereas when you do create, you're creating your own custom objects. You will see list of custom objects when you click on this create and then go to objects. So you should know where to look for standard objects. You should know where to look for custom objects. So custom objects are available here under customize, build customize. Then standard objects are available here in create and objects. So we go to my first object. It has a name, right, which is being displayed here plus an underscore C. What this means is it's a custom object. It's more of a programmatic or a API name, right, which is referred internally within Salesforce. We'll see these things later. What are the different fields, right? So we'll look at standard fields, right? So any object will have these standard fields created by, last modified by, name, right? It's an auto number, then owner. Let's just go back to one sample record here, right? So if you look at this, you have an account owner, right? So like this, you have a owner for this object, right? Who is the owner of this record, right? That's what it shows. Then it has created by, last modified by. You look at this here, created by, last modified by. It shows some auditing data, basic data, right? So then you have a name field. Here I think they are having account name, just a text, whereas in our custom object we have used a automatic number. Okay. So these are some standard fields available in the system. You can also add some custom fields. So the point to remember here is standard objects will have standard fields and custom fields. What is the question here? I believe we have not done that. Why is it showing your name? You mean this data that we have created? There is a question from Vineet. He says, okay, what is the okay, Burlington account? Okay. Yeah, so you're asking why it is showing my name, right? Yeah. The reason is, like I think I highlighted this point, when you create your sample environment or developer environment, Salesforce creates some data for you, right? And since I have given my name here, when you register for the environment, it has used that username because it is the only username available, and it has created the owner as my name. So even though I did not create this, it has given me sample data, right? It has loaded sample data. At the time of loading sample data, it has used the one and only username that is available in this environment. If you go to your environment, right? If you go to your environment, you will see your name. You'll see that the same Burlington Textiles of America is available in each and every environment. It will show your name, right? And yes, you can change the name. You can change the owner of a record, right? Say, for example, I can click here and click on change. I can change the owner. At this point of time, I don't think there are any users. in the system. We have not created any users, right? So you can, once you have new users created, you can change the ownership of the records. You can change the ownership to other people, right? Yeah, that can be done. And it's a very important question that you asked. It's a good question because a lot of things related to security, right, is dependent on this particular field. So that way it's a great question. It will set a base for us to give more important to this field, right? The owner and created by and modified by and all that, right? So that's a great question. Okay. It doesn't show the sample data. Uh, I think, see, if you just click on, I think I have a question from Smita, I'm just answering that. So if you click on accounts, right, and I think you just have to select the filter and just click on go, right? Sometimes it picks up the data automatically in certain sequence, and I think in certain sequence you have to click on the go. Once you click on go, you will see all these records. It's standard stuff. Any developer environment will have this data, right? Just for our understanding. So the point to remember here is the original point I was highlighting is standard object, standard fields, and custom fields, right? So these are some standard objects, accounts or leads or campaigns and contacts. So these are the standard objects in the standard, or sorry, these are standard fields in the standard object called account, right? Then you also have custom fields on the standard object. At the same time, you also have custom objects that will have standard fields and custom fields. Okay, so just remember this. These are certain things which will be useful, right? Okay, I have. I think there was a message. Is my screen stuck? Let me just click on something else. I don't know if my screen is stuck. If you have a problem, let me know if there is nothing visible on your screen, right? Okay, okay, great. So, so we're just looking at the building blocks, right? I'm sorry for showing some other window. So, yeah, I'll go to the slide here, right? So we looked at a page layout, we looked at an app, we looked at some objects. We'll quickly look at tab. How do I create my tab? Because without having a tab, I cannot see my data on the screen, right? So once again, go to setup, go to the left hand side, go to build, create tabs. Okay, so you have apps, you have labels, you have objects and tabs. So we'll quickly see how I can create a tab, and then I'll also create an app, right? So these are the key building blocks, right? I'll click on custom object tab. Okay, we'll see these other tabs later. We'll be talking about them, but just remember there are 4 types of tabs that you can create, and there is some information about each. Okay, so I'm creating a custom object tab. So when I click on a custom object tab, it says link to an object. So the only object is there is my first object that I created, right? This is only custom objects, okay? And then I select tab style. Yeah, so there is a question, does the tab related to the Excel tab? Yes, for understanding point of view, definitely yes. It's an easy way to remember, right? That it is similar to the Excel tabs, right? When you click on a tab or the worksheet here, right, you see the specific data. So that way you can say this is similar to the worksheet in the Excel. So I click on some style. This is just UI thing. There is nothing great here. It will just show you some logo or some icon that you say, right? Select something, okay, tab style, and don't do anything else. Just leave it as is. Click on next. Leave the all the default, right? Don't worry about this right now. I'll explain this later when we talk about security and all that. And then, okay, this one, right? Uh, so I'll just give you a minute just to see the screen. Okay. Uh, does this make any sense to any one of you? Platform, sales, call center, marketing. Uh, have you seen this anywhere? Yes. Yeah, I think I saw a response from quite a few of you. Yeah, great. So these are apps. Okay. So what you're being asked here is, do you want to associate this tab to the following apps? Okay. So since this is a custom app or custom tab that I've created, I would just leave it. I'll probably uncheck against a few things. Okay. I'll remove it from here, 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 here. Right. I don't want to see it everywhere. Probably want to see it in few places just for my understanding. Later, I'll create my own app and link it to the app that I want to create. Okay. Now I have created a tab. Okay. So let's see if it's visible anywhere. Call center. At least it doesn't show up here, right? It doesn't show up in the uh, tabs here. Let me check on sales. I think we are having too many tabs here. But if you see here, it shows my first object, right? We selected the tab to be visible on the my first object. We'll also see how I can bring this to the front later, right? Those are all basic things, very simple things. Don't worry about them. You can rearrange the tabs and all that. Visually, we can do a lot of stuff, which I will not be worried too much about at this point of time. Okay, as you play around, you will find out yourself a lot of these basic things. Okay, so I don't think I will see it here on content, right? I don't see it. So I have associated my tab to some apps and disassociated from some other tabs, right? Some other apps. Okay. So I have successfully created my first tab. I have associated a custom object to a custom tab. Okay. I'll go to setup again, develop, and one more thing I need to do is, sorry, not develop. I'll go to create. I have to create an app. That's one more thing which is pending, right? I'll click on app. So these are the list of apps, right? Uh, I'll talk about sub-tab apps and connected apps later. We don't have to worry about them now. Uh, click new. Okay, I'm going to create a new app. I'll create a custom app. Uh, just go with the default options for now. So I'll say my first custom app. Okay, I'll click on next. You can have your own logo and all that stuff. These are visual things. I'm not going to worry about this now. Go with default. can customize these stuff later. See, now this is the interesting part, right? So earlier you created a tab and linked it to a app. Now you created an app, you decide the tabs that you want to see, right? Every app will have a home tab. Let me add a few tabs. I want accounts, I want maybe contacts. Then where is my first object? Yeah, this is my first object tab, right? I link it here. I'll just keep 4 tabs. I can change my landing tab. I'll just keep it as my home tab. I don't want to worry too much about it. So I'm just changing my security, right? Don't worry about this now. This is a security feature. Just select visible to all profiles, okay? We'll see to this later. Time being, we'll skip this. This is module 4 and 5, security, right? So now I have created an app, okay? Let me come to my user window. Try to use these two windows so that you can just differentiate between user window and uh, the developer window, right? So can you see it? My custom app, my first custom app, right? So I've successfully created an app. Let me click on that app. Let me see what happens. Great. So I see the tabs that I selected, right? So I click on accounts. I click on my first object. Uh, you're not going to have any records here, right? Because this is your own custom object. Salesforce did not create it. When I do my new first object, there are no fields because we have not worried about adding any custom fields, right? Click on save. Let's see what happens. So even though you did not have any custom fields, you did have some standard fields, right? So I created a new record. So I created a new record on the custom object, and this custom object does not have any custom fields, but it has some standard fields. The first standard field is A001. If you remember, go to objects, uh, go to first object. I hope I'm going slow. I'm sorry if I'm clicking fast. I'll try to be slow. If you remember this auto number, right, name field, every object, standard and custom object, will have a field called name field, which is a standard field, okay? It will be of type text or auto number. Here we gave a format A000 and auto number, and we said it should be starting with 1, right? So that's what has come there, right? This is the auto number 1, right? So it has created a record with standard fields, right? Owner, all this is showing my name because I am the owner, I created it, right? And edit doesn't make any sense because there is no field that you can edit, right? Just click on cancel and click on my first object again. I'll show you one more record because I want to show you how that auto number works, right? I'm just clicking on save. I'm creating one more record, okay? That's it. A002. Interesting, right? So it creates the auto number, which is not a great thing. There are many wonderful products which do this. Salesforce, this is a very primitive feature in Salesforce. But the thing is, the auto number is the number. It's right. It's an auto number. It's on the name field, right? So this is the name field that is being displayed here, and it just keeps creating records. You don't have custom fields on the record, right? So we created an app. We created a tab associated with the tab. to the app and also the associated with the tab to the object, right? And then we created some records just to show a few things. Let us just create one quick custom field, right? I just want to show one field. So I click on new and we'll create a very simple field, maybe a phone number, right? You have so many options here. We'll understand these options later, but I'm just creating a phone number field, okay? Customer phone. Okay, I can put in descriptions if you want. I'll say always require a field, right? It means this is a mandatory field. Don't worry about default value and all that now. Uh, Go with this step 3. Don't worry about it now, right? When you do the labs also, don't worry about it. Then we will click on save. Okay, I have created a custom field, right? So standard fields are listed here, and then you have custom fields. Okay, this is your object definition. Okay, under objects, you have this screen. Now let's go to this window. I'll just refresh this once uh, so that it picks up the changes we have done quickly. Right. I'll open existing record. Okay. I'll open A001. Click on edit. Okay. Let me click on save. What happens? It says there is an error, right? Because customer phone, we said it is a mandatory field. So let me enter some number. Did I select as a phone number field or I don't know what I did? It should. I don't know the validations that are there, but we'll worry about the validations later. I just have to type in some number. I just typed in a number. Then click on save. Great. So we have created a custom field, right? And we put in some number. It is saved. Okay. So we've created one custom object, created one custom field on the custom object. Okay. Let's just go to the slide and see if you can make sense of this, right? So we created an app, we created tab, we created a page layout, we created a record, we created a field, we created an object, right? So these are the building blocks which are related to each other. So I have also given you where each stands in the MVC layer, right? Model view controller that I showed here, right? So try to understand this. This is very important to understand. Whatever appears visually, right? It's the view layer, right? App is visual, tab is visual, page layout is visual, right? Object is nothing but the storage space, right? I've given you some comparisons, right? Uh, which will make you understand this better. What is an object, right? Just go through this. If you have doubts, we can always discuss. Then we looked at fields. We have not created relationships. We'll come to that later. We created records, and we have not created visual first page and all these things. The last 3 we have not done. We'll come to them later, right? I have given some descriptions and all this here. Okay, I will leave it to you to read. Okay, leave it for you to read for now. But when you have doubts, do not hesitate. When you read it, you want to come back to me in the next session. I'll be more than happy to explain again. Okay, because the video should be available for you within, I think, 5 to 6 hours. Then also the slides are available right away, so you can always play around, right? When if you have free time. So I'll move to the next slide. I will skip this for now. Okay, I'll come to this slide later. Nothing very great about this, just general knowledge. Right, I'll come to this later. We covered this. with some example model view controller. So model stands for the data, the objects, right? Database, SFDC object and related elements. View is the user interface. Uh, the controller is the one which controls everything, right? And these are the examples. We have talked about few things from Java world also, just to give you an idea. I hope this information is useful. Uh, so anywhere you go, right? Uh, you will be asked this basic question. Whether you say you are a fresher, whether you say you are a advanced Java guy, right? Typical question that is asked is what is MVC? And there are many people, trust me, they can explain this. It's a very simple concept. Just give examples like I gave. You are creating a good first impression, but many people fail to. Recently, I interviewed someone. And I did have someone who was an architect also with me. This person was a Java experienced person. Basic question was asked is, can you tell me MVC and what uh, it is, right? Give me some example. They could not explain. So please understand this. This is very important and very easy also. I would say very easy to explain. Nothing there. It's not rocket science, right? And it looks scary, but it can be explained by anyone. You can be a technical guy. You can be a functional guy. You can be admin. Just remember the examples I gave you. MVC, right? Add, modify, delete, right? Just remember this. Just remember these things. That's it. There is nothing so great about it, right? I'll move to the next slide. So, what we are going to do is, right? We are going to create a student app, right? Student master app. We'll define our own requirements, and we will try to see how we can build the app. Okay. So this is the simple use case that we have given. Uh, for time being, I'll let you folks read through these slides. Okay, very basic thing, nothing very difficult. We will be talking about the student app in detail in the next session. Time being, just imagine you are in a college or university or in your school, you're using some student app, your professors or your principal is tracking student details, uh, basic information about student by department, their email ID, name, phone number, whatever, the marks, the grades, their requests for leave, for stationery, whatever, right? You want to automate a college or a university or a school, right? Whatever you call it, depending on where you are, right? You can define your own requirements. You can make it as elaborate as you want. Like I said in the beginning, we will keep it simple. We'll just do 5 or 6 objects, then create them, apply all the logic here, right? So this security model, will come to the security model slide when we talk about security model. Time being, you may not understand this, but I think those of you who have experience in other technologies, you have done many projects, I'm sure you will understand this, and you will probably come with more challenging and complex requirements than what I have given here, right? And those of you who are new, don't worry. We'll be going in detail. We'll be going doing this, and we'll make it as easy as possible for you. So don't worry about that. Okay. Just think what you will do if you're running a college yourself, right? If you're the senior management of the college, if you're the principal, I want to implement, uh, I want to automate things, I want to do it online. Don't even worry about Salesforce, right? You are not an IT guy for time being. You are a business owner. You list out, you spell out whatever comes to your mind, right? Put it in a simple notepad, just spell out what you want, right? Then we will discuss that in the next session in detail. Okay, I think at this point of time I don't want to get into the requirements definition. Right, it's almost like we're coming to the close of the 3-hour window. So I'll quickly spend some time on the assignments. Right, so you can download the assignments or you can also see it here on the window, right? So against each and every module, apart from the first module is pure theory. Module 2 has a assignment, right? You can download this file also. I think it is available as a separate link. I'm sure all of you have done the task 1. You signed up for a free environment. And we will do this, okay? You can just do this on yours by yourself. You can read the instruction and do this. I'll be anyway talking about this. Um, you know, I created a different app. I said I created a my custom app. You can create a student master app uh, and try creating some tabs, all that, right? I showed you some good amount of demos. Like create a custom object, understand page layout. We have not done search layout. We'll do that tomorrow. Don't worry about it. So some of the things, if they are not very clear, don't worry. You can come back after we cover certain things tomorrow. You can do it. But I think reasonably straightforward stuff that we have given. 4 or 5 tasks which will cover whatever we have done so far, right? We also have a document. Let me just click on this. Uh, I think there is some issue with this upload. Don't worry about this. I will show you this document. Will get it uploaded properly. I think there is some minor issue on the website, but I think we'll take care of that. So, excuse me. Sorry. So what we have done is we are providing a simple Excel sheet, right? It is partially filled, okay? It is partially filled document and you just use it as a reference, okay? So we have defined some requirements, okay? So I have removed it deliberately from this sheet. Uh, the reason is I will just want people to think on their own to type in your recommend. Like I said, you think you are the management, right? You are running a college or you're running an university. What will you expect? What will you capture in students? What I do usually is I take an Excel sheet, right? All of us are very familiar with Excel sheet. This is what I usually do. If I want to capture student detail, what do I need to do? Right? I will say first name, last name, email, phone, city, department, maybe I don't know. I mean, if you want to capture father's name, whatever, right? Email ID. So where can we find this document? So this is basically available under the modules, right? If you go to my courses, you should see this. But I think there is some small glitch here, right? I think we are not able to see the document here, but I'll sort this out. We'll get this sorted out and ensure you guys don't have a problem, right? If there is an issue, will anyway. I think we'll find out a way to share this with you guys, right? That should not be an issue. Don't worry. But if you see the Excel sheet, it's pretty simple. Uh, yeah, I'll tell you what we need to do for tomorrow. So you can finish those tasks that we have given, right? 4 or 5 already you've done creating the login app, login environment, and all that. So think through, right? Uh, think through the objects or the tables that you will create, right? That is basically your data model for your student app. So I'm showing you some sample here. So this is the object or the table I'll create. These are the field names. So student master will have email ID, the name, department, date of joining, date of birth, age, status, roll number, total marks, average, uh, number of subjects passed, number of subjects failed. You don't have to create these now. So what I suggest is think through. Don't have to create these fields in the database, in the system. If you want to create, go ahead and create. No issues. You can do it any number of times because these environments are very flexible. You have enough headroom. I'm not stopping you from doing anything between now and tomorrow, but just think through, right? More than creating something here, right? Uh, just think through as a owner, as a designer, and you will get familiar with these things within a week or two, right? All these menu options and all this. Anyway, you have the recordings available. You have very detailed labs which we have given the assignments. We'll tell you click on setup, click on this, click on that. All of that you'll get familiar, right? Just like you driving a car. Maybe initial few days you don't know where your controls are, right? But you will get to know quickly, right, as you move around. So think through, create fields that you think are relevant, then think about marks, right? So those of you who are familiar with data modeling, I'm sure you can do a lot of stuff here. Just feel free, and others, don't worry, don't get bogged down that you are new to this. Just think in Excel sheet, right? Think in an Excel sheet. What will I capture? It's your imagination. I leave it to you. You don't worry about this file, right? You do it in your own format. Later I'll share this. This is not a showstopper for you. Go ahead and create certain things, right? Certain data. If you want, put in some sample data. So just let's create a simple Excel sheet first because that's the starting point I would usually use, right? And then slowly we will see how this application can be developed in Salesforce, right? So that would be the approach because it makes it easy. I'm sure all of us are quite familiar with Excel sheets, so I always prefer to do it that way. What we'll do is we will spend more time on the uh, the building blocks and define little bit on the student app application. So I'll probably take in some inputs from you folks tomorrow, right? And then also we'll take some questions or we'll do some refresh what we have done. Then we'll look into the next set of modules, right? We'll look at how to create data model, how to create the objects, relationships and fields, put in more type of fields, like what are the different relationships which are available, right? We'll talk a little bit more on those in the tomorrow's session, right? So basically these 2-3 modules will give you a nice foundation to start with. Then if you look at it, we have modules 4 and 5 which are security related, right? There are a lot of things related to security. And then security is a very, very important topic. We will spend a lot of time on this. We keep revisiting this multiple times. Then you have business logic, business process automation. Then we have some functional modules, right? And then if you see, we have a good number of modules for Apex programming, exception handling, triggers, DMLs, visual force, and all that. So this is a very, very good foundation, right? This serves as a very good foundation for people who want to become advanced developers. And the initial modules are all for all the people because everyone has to know. Like I said, anyone joining Salesforce as an employee is expected to clear the 4 certifications, 4 or 5 certifications, no matter what role you're playing. You're an architect, you're designer, you're a manager, you're a sales engineer, you're solution architect, they don't care. Everyone has to go through the foundation level, right? So that's why we have designed this course in this way because they expect that people know these basic things, and then it's up to you. You could do what advanced things you want to do, right? So I will take a pause here. I'll just see if there are any questions, and I would like to hear or look at your feedback in terms of, are you okay with this approach in terms of what I'm doing, showing you some demos, then showing you the PPTs. So from now on, it will be more of PPT, sorry, more of demo. We'll be spending more time on the screen system. I'll limit myself to the PPT just to ensure I have not missed, any topic, right? And I always like to look at the objectives towards the end once more, right? Beginning, you don't know what you're doing. This will just give us, okay, I've covered all these, right? That's what it shows. So I know there are some things I have not covered here. I have not covered point number 5, or sorry, 1, 2, 3, 5, yeah. I have not covered about object limit. I have not covered search layouts. I have not covered about point 3, so 2 and 3. But I'll be doing that tomorrow, right? So it just gives me a map that what how much I'm sticking to the agenda. But if there is any specific feedback in the way I'm doing, if you think I'm too fast, let me know. If you think I should be more interactive, or if you think you need a small break in between, maybe a 5-minute break, because we have lots of things to cover. So I think we don't want to take a long break because it kind of deviates, takes away the focus. But feel free, we'll try to make it as interesting as possible, like as if we are all sitting in a classroom, right? I know we are all virtually connected to each other on the cloud, but assume that we are sitting in a room, all of us, and see what we can make it to make it better, right? If you want to talk, I'll be happy to unmute you guys. Uh, Maybe you will be happy to talk, right? Rather than just typing on the question window. I'm more than happy to unmute, just to avoid certain uh, crosstalks and all. We are muted folks, but I'll be happy to unmute, right? So we'll make it as interactive as possible, as interesting as possible. And please do fill in the feedback form. Put in some comments, because if you have positive things, please put in positive things. If you have something negative, you're not liking something, don't worry, put it. And also, I think there is some rating. Uh, Put in whatever you feel, frankly, right? And we'll be very happy to accept that feedback and then work on it, right? We want to make it as lively and interesting and useful as possible. Right, so I'll stop here. I think we are exactly out of time. Just a minute to go. So you can try creating the apps and all that, right? The lab, you can try to do it, and we'll catch up tomorrow. Any questions? Anything? Anyone wants to say something? I can unmute you folks. Okay, great. So we will catch up tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time. See you all. We'll meet same time tomorrow. Thank you.